I'm Flo.
Dun, 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 dun.
Give me an intro song, please. And it's not Safe and Sound.
Monday Night Football.
Dun 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 dun.
No, we're probably not.
Which one's that one?
Dun, 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 dun.
What did I just do?
Dun, 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 dun.
No, I just did. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. What was that?
Dun, 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 dun.
No, we're not. Now I forget which one I did.
That's what you just did.
No, I got proof. Oh, dang it, I'm wrong. I'll cut it. Okay, but I'm Flo, but you can call me Baby Mama.
Baby.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Baby.
Baby.
Your nickname for me?
B-A-Y-B-U.
H.
Depends. The more the H's.
The more sassy it gets, the more upset you are with me. Baby.
Yeah, that sounds right. Hello and welcome to another episode. I almost said of Armchair. Hello and welcome. Maybe someday. Hey Dax, when you hear this, when we're friends. Anyways, welcome to another episode of the Revel Flow podcast. I'm your host, Flo, and today we have a special episode in that I am interviewing my baby daddy. I don't want to intro like that.
I mean, let's be honest, it's not that special. It's just because there's not one for this week, so I'm a fill-in.
No, you've been on the list since before this started.
Number 1 supporter, number 2 listener to Dina Flora.
Yeah, she is my main fan. Always has been since 1991.
Oh, wait, are we allowed to say full names? Should we redact that?
Nah. No, you were going to be my first guest, remember? And then we just never recorded, and then...
Then life.
Yeah, life. But it's okay, because it only took us 5 months to get you on the show.
And it's not like I'm going anywhere. I live here. It's my house.
I bought the couch. I paid the mortgage once. Do you remember? I'm part owner.
You're going to cut this out, right?
No. I paid the mortgage. I paid 1 month, and I also signed a paper, I think. So, like, it's both of ours.
We had to sign lots of papers.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of editing that's going to happen.
Super weird.
That's okay. We're giving the people what they want. Speaking of, sign up for our OnlyFans account at Feet Pics Only.
Okay, that is for sure getting cut.
Yeah, most of that whole conversation will probably get cut out. But anyways, Elijah is my husband, my betrothed, and we've been married.
Betrothed? That would be like we were going to get married, right?
Yeah, but I was trying to do past tense.
Oh. Is that a thing?
Too. It is now. Oh. If bootylicious can be added to the dictionary, betrothed can also be added to the dictionary. We've been married for 6 3/4 years. Let's introduce you.
Okay.
So you are most known for your latte skills.
In this house, at least, yes.
And our close personal friends.
Yeah, did not like coffee my entire life growing up, somehow. Thought it was disgusting. Southern Ohio boy, so sweet tea's a thing, still is. That's what I grew up on. Parents always had, like, Folgers, maybe?
Honestly, though, I like Folgers.
It was either Folgers or Maxwell House. I honestly don't remember which.
Maxwell House is trash.
But it was always, we're going to cut that because we don't need anybody coming after us.
Yes, they do exclusively listen to this podcast. They're one of 10.
Anyways, did not like coffee, and then moved to my first apartment when I was 23, maybe 22, and got a Keurig machine. And this is not a Keurig endorsement whatsoever.
We're Nespresso people here.
Neither. However, let's just say that was my gateway drug. I found out that there are coffees I could like. Then just started finding all these local coffee spots, and the rest is history, as it were. Got our own espresso machine, and my lovely wife, Lauren, Flo,
she'll be
host
on
of this podcast. Host of this
he becomes
podcast.
very snooty when he starts talking about coffee.
The host of this podcast. I don't even know what I was saying.
You're a coffee snob.
Oh.
We understand.
Coffee snob now, but she got me a class with my favorite coffee shop in Columbus, Methodical Coffee. Shout out. Mission Coffee. Shout out.
We also like Methodical.
Methodical's in Greenville.
Shout out Greenville. South Carolina.
I believe it's 2060 South High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Mission Coffee.
You honestly know the
Check 'em
address?
I'm pretty sure it's South High.
2060 South High?
Sure. Yeah, it's near Urban Timber. Also shout out Urban Timber. My friend Tyler Hilliard owns that.
This episode is sponsored by Tyler Hilliard.
By Urban Timber and Mission Coffee.
No, just Tyler.
But anyways, she got me a class with them, and it was all about how to make espresso honestly, it was supposed to be a 1 hour class with like 10 people, and it was just me. And it ended up being like 2.5 hours.
He came home physically shaking.
It's like 30 some shots that you're supposed to swish and spit.
No, yeah, they wanted you to pour them out, and what you told me that you felt so wasteful. You at least took like 20 shots.
Again, grew up poor. You don't want to waste anything, but also wanted to know what the difference was. Like, I wanted to know why, like, what I was tasting and what I was doing that made it taste that way. So that was a functioning part of the training of the class.
He had to be hooked up to an EKG after. Is that the thing? EKG? That sounds like a gun.
EKG is the heart rate.
Yeah, that thing.
But yeah, after that, it was like going straight to learning how to make it the right way, and now we have a little mini cafe in our kitchen.
And I have a live-in barista, which is fun.
It's fun.
It is fun.
It's a little bit like science and art at the same time.
Yeah, I don't get as scientific. I just kind of like go for the quick.
Yeah, for anyone who knows us, they would get that.
That makes sense. That checks out.
They would say that is a perfect description of who we are.
Yeah. You're also interested in cycling, and you know Lance Armstrong personally.
No, but I do have his autograph.
Oh, well, I have a Live Strong bracelet. It feels the same. You have his autograph? I didn't know you have his autograph.
I have Lance's autograph, and I have Chris Horner's autograph, and all of the 2012 Trek Live Strong team.
Shout out to Lance Armstrong. You were framed. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
Actually, I don't think he was.
We're going there.
I don't think he was framed.
Okay, listen.
I think he did it.
Here's my hot take. The entire pro peloton, which is the professional riders, we're all doing something. And that was the only way to stay competitive. So I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I'm not saying you shouldn't let him keep his Tour de France titles. Because they were all doing it.
With MLB, they just put a little asterisk next to him. But he didn't even get that, right?
I think, no, and I think where this sport gets kind of like a prestigious snobbery to it, and the fact that like you're either in or you're out. And they decided that this was a witch hunt and we're going to take you down, and that was pretty much it. They nearly wiped him out of all of the books.
I think he won 7 and people were upset. And
I won't say who was upset, but there was somebody.
You should say it. I don't know.
Eddie Merckx might be the reason.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy, if you're listening to
Eddie
this.
Merckx. Don't come after me, Eddie Merckx. You're the greatest cyclist of all time. But
Eddie Murphy, you all write my book.
Those records were gone. So
I mean, but we all know. And we all got these really cool fashionable bracelets because of him.
So that's fun.
So after we give our hot takes on cycling, he's really good at air guitar. That's his go-to.
Host a pretty monthly karaoke night with my daughter and with our daughter.
Yeah.
We air guitar and karaoke to Willie Nelson and Dolly and.
But the thing is, she actually thinks you're playing the guitar.
I don't think so.
And we're gonna
anymore.
let that ride as long as possible.
She was easily tricked in the beginning, but I don't think she believes it anymore.
Yeah, who doesn't lie to their kid in the beginning?
But honestly, it was a really cool feeling.
You were a rock star, at least in her book.
And she's the only fan I care about, let's be honest.
That's true.
Look, this is a podcast predominantly about creativity, right?
Mostly.
And there's nothing more creative than being a parent. I mean, literally everything you do, everything you say is some kind of art form to your child. It's fun.
We do a lot of crafting for sure.
Yeah.
But also how I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
In the more serious sense.
Yeah, well, and like you're literally guiding and crafting their lives.
Raising her has been the coolest thing.
Yeah, there's not a day that goes by where I'm not grateful and thankful for the opportunity to be her dad. God put her in our lives and us in her life for a reason. And honestly, I just can't wait to see what that is.
I think we're experiencing what that is.
Well, I mean, like the end game. I think if you had to pick 3 descriptions of me, it would be like music. I love to listen to music. Outdoorsy. I like to go on hikes and bike rides and things like that. And I'm a coffee snob. But yeah, I feel like that's pretty much the 3 facets of me.
So in closing of this episode, I'm just kidding.
All right.
That's not all of you do. You also like to build things and.
Yeah, I'm a very hands-on.
You're really good at Call of Duty. Part undefeated in the
Not super
Rarick.
great at Call of Duty, but I do enjoy playing. I am undefeated in our household at Mario Kart. I mean, I like photography and dabble in that. I like to do a little bit of woodworking. Actually, the table we're sitting at right this second, recording this, we built for our wedding. Used it at our reception. And it is a way too long table that lives in our house now.
I like it. I think it's the perfect size.
Yeah, it's just really long. But it's held up and it hasn't fell apart. So bonus.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me? Nobody's interviewed me on here.
Yeah, I have lots of questions.
Oh my gosh.
How dare you?
First of all, how dare you?
What is that from?
Is it The Office? Oh, it is. It's when,
Oh, with Kelly.
Yeah. First of all, how dare you?
Let's start with, why did you decide to start this podcast?
Well, I was trying to start a business over the summer, and I was thinking of ways to build community around the business and to build different avenues and streams into the business. And I thought about doing a podcast, but everyone and their mother has a podcast right now.
Sure.
And then I kind of put it on the back burner. It felt intimidating to do. I really didn't understand the behind the curtain of a podcast. But then I had a dream. I get dreams, guys. Lots of dreams. I had a dream that someone told me to start a podcast, and I woke up from the dream and I was like, I guess I'm gonna start a podcast. I was on my friend Lauren Hansen's podcast, Strangers on the Way. Shout out Lauren. And I got to see like what it actually was and realized it's not as intimidating as I thought. So I started my own, and it's had some really good momentum, and it's not about like what it could be. It's mostly kind of like playing a little bit and giving me excuses to talk to people.
Well, can you say it's probably a little bit like therapy in a way, where you can kind of like talk to people and like give your ideas and then also absorb their ideas?
I think what it's mostly done to benefit me, because I really didn't have an agenda starting it. Again, the thought was everyone's got a podcast, but then I realized there's tons of movies and people are still making movies. There's tons of books, people are still writing books. So I'm like, okay, why the heck not? But what the biggest benefit so far has been having an excuse to interview people I really want to hear from. So, or people that I just really respect and wouldn't normally feel like I would have the ability to have a sit down, so I kind of frame it around, do you want to hang out and have them on the podcast? But it's been cool, and I've learned a lot, and I've realized a pattern of everybody that I've had on doesn't have a typical, what you would consider a traditional job or even a traditional career path, which has been really cool. So it started as like a creative strategy podcast, but I think it's really become more of finding a career that you're passionate about and like how people got there. And it's been fun. And I realized, a lot of the people I've interviewed, I feel like I respect them so much that I also have been intimidated and felt like a little bit closed around them. But having been in the position to interview them, I've realized I've found like my voice and my confidence and ability to like open up more around people I would normally wouldn't. I don't know. It's been good for me.
You find that typically you're more on a level playing field than you thought.
I think when you don't really know someone, you put an ideal in your mind, and sometimes it's a pedestal, and sometimes you put them in a ranking that's almost unhuman. Yeah, and then when you finally get to sit across the table from them, you realize you have more similarities than differences. Yeah. So that's been really cool. Can
you speak to the dreams a little bit? Are they like a guiding type dream, like they guide you in your life, or like are you getting ideas? I, for one, never, other than that need to breathe dream I just literally blurted out to you earlier today, I never remember my dreams ever. So I guess start with like, how do you keep track of and write and remember? Like, do you write them down? Like,
I have had vivid dreams every single night for as long as I can remember, and the way I remember them, it feels like I'm just replaying a movie in my head. I even remember dreams that I had when I was 5 years old. And for dreams, it's like, sometimes I would say they're what's called like body dreams, where I'm just experiencing like my body and my mind is going through like my daily stress, and it's helping me process life from my subconscious, right? But I've had so many dreams, it's about to get weird, people. I've had so many dreams where something happens in the dream, then months later, whatever I dreamed about actually comes true.
I.e., we're in this house right this second.
Yeah, I had a dream about where we live now before I knew about it at all.
And was totally against living here.
Yeah, I was against living here until I had the dream. And then we were driving past here, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is where I was in my dream. So, and I love where we live. I also had a dream about my daughter, Lena, a year before I was pregnant with her. I had some dreams that got me out of some sticky situations. I've had dreams where, like over the summer, I had a dream I went to New York and very specific things happened in my dream. And so the next month I went to New York because of this dream, and every single thing that I dreamt happened. Like people I just happened to run into were there. Pictures that I saw in my dream, I saw like on the subway in New York. It was, so yeah, I don't know. Call it what you want, but. Do
you ever have where, let's say you have a dream tonight, will you go out of your way sometimes to make that dream come true? Like if there's like something that's clearly attainable, not like far-fetched, like, oh, I live in a bajillion-dollar house, that's a real number.
I've had that dream.
If it's like, hey, you're gonna go to this place today, will you go out of your way to make that happen because you might meet somebody that you're supposed to meet or bump into somebody?
Definitely.
Or into a situation that you're supposed to be a part of?
Yes, only because I've had so many instances where I've had dreams of things and then I didn't do anything to make those dreams happen, and then they just happened. And so, for instance, the New York dream, or actually I'll even go back. I had a dream, and it was a summertime a couple years ago, and I had this dream that I was talking to my friend Rebecca Turner. I had a dream that I was talking with her, and she lives in Colorado. And in the dream I said, hey, I'm gonna be in Denver this March, let's hang out. And she said, yes, let's meet up. So I wake up from that dream. Later on in the fall, I find out that I was in a ministry school and they were having a missions trip, and it was for Denver in March of that following year. And so I signed up for the trip knowing I probably can't afford to go, but I applied for it anyways, got accepted. And when it came time for the funds to be turned in, I didn't have the funds, but someone paid for me anonymously to go. So I ended up going to Denver in March, which is what I had happen to me in the dream. And I saw Becky while I was there.
Yeah, we said this wasn't going to become a conspiracy theory podcast. Yeah, you're bringing up Denver. So.
Well, it's not a conspiracy. And I have proof because you asked if I write them down.
Denver itself.
Oh, Denver Airport.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the amount of time I've spent
in Denver. That'll be a whole nother episode.
I feel like they're kind of, owning it a little bit. But no, but I have, so you asked if I write them down. I have written down mini ones, especially when I feel they're really significant. And I think it's cool because I'll write them on my phone so they're time-stamped. So then when they happen like a couple weeks later, I can reference and be like, hey, look, this is what I dreamt 2 weeks ago, and it's happening today. So
yeah, I find it interesting or fun when you send a voice memo or tell a friend.
It's usually Lauren Hansen.
Yeah, usually Lauren. If you tell Lauren, like, hey, I had this dream, and then she sends you like a 60-minute voice memo back about how that exact thing has just happened to her.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. I think that's pretty cool.
We have an exclusive podcast that me and her are the only subscribers to, in that we send voice memos back and forth on text.
Well, I listen.
Well, if you're in the room. But it's fun. I sometimes take notes to make sure I respond to everything that's said. This is why, I love sleeping. I love taking naps because I always dream. And sometimes I'm flying in the dream.
Sure.
So I'm like, when's that going to happen? You know what I mean? Maybe one day.
So on the same plane, you have sometimes flying. Oh, got it.
Ding, ding, ding.
You said you can go chase after those moments in a way. Have you ever sought one of those out and then it was just nothing?
No.
Like you show up and you're like, oh, nothing's happening. I must be in the wrong place.
No, because my whole thinking is, so I'm a Christian. This is not a surprise to anybody who's listened to this. I feel like, God gives me dreams, and even if I don't see the fruit, I feel like something's happening. If I step out in faith of what I feel like God's calling me to, I don't have to see the fruit.
Yeah.
Someone else could be benefiting for all I know. As long as it's not putting myself in harm's way, I'd have to feel really strongly about it. Luckily, that hasn't had to happen at all. But usually it's pretty simple things. As far as I can remember, if I have an ability to make a move towards it, heck yeah, why not? There's been so many times where I've gone after it and then I've had crazy cool stories come from it that I could have never created for myself, but because I actually went out and did it, it all came through. These dreams I'm not creating for myself, right? So it's not like I can craft these later experiences for myself.
Right.
I did not have the dream, so.
So next question. Would you call yourself a reader?
A reader?
Yeah, do you like to read?
I do, but it takes a lot for me to sit down and read. I'll do a lot of Audible because I drive so much.
So I have a problem with the lack of tactile feel when it comes to an Audible, like an audiobook. I will listen to a podcast all day long. Religious listener to a lot of episodes or different shows, but I love that tactile feel of the pages. And I'm one of those weird people that likes to read books rooted in history.
Let's just call one out real quick. Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Well, I said rooted in history, first of all. But
You're right, he was a vampire.
First of all, rooted in history. Second of all, the book I'm currently, I would say, in progress is called A Man at Arms, Stephen Pressfield. It's been great so far. I'm only 100 pages in for the last 3 years.
There we go.
However, where I struggle is I like to read it with maps and timelines. So I'm like literally Googling everything and like having timelines and having the map of the time period up. And I just get tired immediately. I could listen to that book probably in like 3 days on my drives to work. But I have no context. Do you ever wrestle with that?
Never. We'll be sitting on the couch watching a show, and I'll just ask a question like in passing that I really don't even care to know the answer to. I'll be like, oh, what have I seen that girl in before?
3 hours later, I've got the answer. And
no, you've got her whole family history and her social security number.
Every show
and the
she's
past
been
three,
in.
Yeah, the past 3 stores she shopped in. It bothers you to not know, where I'm just like, whatever.
Well, I don't think it bothers me. I almost feel like it's essential to know where someone comes from often, or I like to know where somebody comes from.
I think it makes them more real for you.
Sure. Like if I know maybe where they were born or like what time period they're from or like what their grandparents were like or something like that. In this book, for instance, it's loosely based around Paul in whatever
the New Testament
time that was, whatever AD.
Old.
And like the early church. Honestly, the maps are totally different now. And you can look at that area, Caesarea Philippi, and it looks nothing today like it did back then. So I just want to know, like, am I running through Greece? Are we talking about Israel? Like, where are we at?
What's that video game you play?
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. I think
well, this just got derailed.
I think you're playing Assassin's Creed in your mind as you're reading these books.
Well, and that's part of the reason why I love Assassin's Creed so much, is because it is rooted a teeny bit in history. And I love history. Like, you made fun of me just a minute ago about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. For the record, I do not believe vampires exist. I don't believe Abraham Lincoln was a vampire hunter.
You don't believe Abraham Lincoln existed?
In the least, no. I believe that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's on the penny, for crying out loud.
Right. And the internet.
The most useless coin of all time. Hey. Arguably one of the most prominent presidents we ever had, and we put him on the most useless coin.
No, those are cool because you go into those like, anytime you go to, like, a national park or memorial place, you put the penny in 2 quarters, and then you
and they deface
put it through the chain.
Yeah.
How is that not illegal, by the way?
It is illegal.
But they're everywhere, at, like, government places.
You're defacing government property. Yeah. It's illegal.
But I love doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Continue.
But anyways, to bring it back, it just takes me so long to read a book because I like to know where things are happening. I can appreciate how someone is acting or reacting in the book based on where they come from. And the same goes for movies and stuff, knowing how they will respond to something because I know what their backstory is.
Made it more 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your version of a pop-up book.
Kinda, yeah. Only I'm 35 and they don't make them for adults.
Well, maybe they should. Because I would love a good pop-up book. Depends on the story.
On the subject of books, we have lots of books for our daughter.
Many leather-bound books that smell of rich Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite? This is way off topic, but do you have a favorite?
Do I have a favorite? Everyone Dies. What's that book called? All My Friends Are Dead.
All My Friends Are Dead, yeah. It's based on a T-Rex.
So dark.
And basically it goes through all these things where, like, all my friends are dead because he's a dinosaur. And then it has, like, this really old person and all my friends will soon be dead.
You talked about knowing the background of every character of every show. I want to know that guy's background.
The guy who wrote the book?
No, the dinosaur. How did he make it? what is his origin story? Why is he not dead? Like, how did he survive the meteor
He
shower?
didn't make it.
But his friends are dead, and he's here to tell the tale.
No, it's a biography, not an autobiography.
Does he die in the end? Well, who was there to learn what he experienced?
It's written on the caves.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Stories were passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah, that checks out, I guess.
I am a huge fan of T-Rex trying. If
Oh,
you can't tell by now, we're dinosaur people.
My favorite book is P is for
P is for
pterodactyl. I almost said pterodactyl.
But T-Rex Trying is a great black and white book with red paint.
Yeah.
Basically, everything he's trying to do is red, and he's like trying to paint a house, and he can't because his arms are so short. He's trying to pick up a red car, but he can't because his arms are so short. That's my favorite one, I think.
I want to guess
That and one more, Mr. Pumpkin's Tea Party. Shout out Aaron Barker, friend from my childhood, who's an awesome illustrator.
I was going to say about dinosaurs, about T-Rexes. There's more and more science coming behind because the ancestral line of a T-Rex is now chickens. I would love to believe that T-Rexes just looked like giant chickens. And I think there's scientific fact to back that up.
Well, do we think that they're related to those, like Land Before Time and like all the other whatever dinosaur movies? We're back, whatever.
Dinosaur.
Yeah, Dinosaur. Jurassic Park. You know those little tiny dinosaurs that look like a T-Rex, but they're really itty bitty. There's a connection there for sure. And is that where the connection to the chicken is?
Absolutely not. It's from the T-Rex.
You think it's from this little itty bitty chicken to the 40, 50, 60 foot, 100 foot tall T-Rex?
I would say because there's so much science, and I know this because I saw this on a TikTok once. There's so much science that the Earth used to have a ton more oxygen than it has now. This is scientifically backed. A ton more oxygen than it has now. So everything was bigger. Trees were bigger, animals were bigger, people were giants. Paul Bunyan, mister. And so, but legitimately, animals were just bigger because they had more oxygen so they could grow. They've proven this by putting fish in more oxygenated water, and they're like triple the size of what they would normally be in regular water. Anyways, so I think it's definitely possible that something the size of a giant building could now be the size of a McNugget.
That got real dark.
It is the circle of life, my friend. I don't know how to explain it any other way.
Does this feel a little bit to you like this whole episode is going to get scrapped? And
No,
eventually
this is
redo a whole
freaking
nother.
gold. This is freaking gold. No, it won't get scrapped. Speaking of dinosaurs, you're wearing a dinosaur hat.
I am.
So Arcteryx.
Arcteryx is my brand. I can't
But
afford...
the dinosaur, it's the first one that was discovered to have wings. Wait, what was the story? It's got wings.
It's got wings.
But isn't there a story behind the dinosaur?
I don't remember.
It's like innovation is their like brand thing. I don't even work for Arcteryx.
If you don't know Arcteryx, they're a big time outdoors company. They make really cool clothes, jackets, hats. They're like innovation and moving forward and being like the first onto something. And admittedly, they do that very well. However, if you don't have $1,200, you can't buy their jackets.
I mean, to be fair, their stuff lasts forever, so.
Well,
but still.
Let's speak to that a little bit. Would you buy something that you knew was going to last a lot longer for more money? Or would you spend less money on something that's not going to last as long, but you could have more of a revolving door of that product and try something different?
I would say it depends on the product because there's a couple factors for me here. Trends. Something that will have its own revolving door of trends. Like if I know I'm just going to want to buy the update, I'm going to go for the cheaper option because I realize I'm just going to update it later. If it's something like a house, I want something that's going to last. I mean, there's so many things that I feel like are so subjective to what the intention of the item is for, and this is going to get deeper than you asked for. It just depends.
I'm asking this as someone who hasn't really bought new clothes since high school virtually, so.
Yes. I enjoy... I don't know if it's got to definitely be something more surfacey as far as like I just enjoy shopping.
Yeah.
I just enjoy buying. Okay, let me turn it this way. This is a deeper question than you asked. If I don't have a ton of money and I can't afford the more expensive thing, but I can afford the cheaper thing now with the same now experience, I'll buy the cheaper thing with the hope that someday I'll have more money and then eventually I can buy the more expensive
thing. It's so
thing.
funny. We're so opposite on that one. Yeah. I will I will wait. And I'll buy the more expensive. I'll look at it for years on the internet.
I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. Let me give it a little anecdote.
Oh, great.
The amount of tabs this man has up on his computer. First of all, our current kitchen chairs. We've had this table, this beautifully built table by Elijah, for 7 years. It took us about 4 years to get kitchen chairs for it because
they weren't tall enough.
It is a very specific height that it's not like your normal height for a table. He showed me probably 1,000 chairs. And I really was just like, anything you showed me, I was like, let's go. Yes. It worked out. But yes, you're very particular, and that's okay.
Well, it might be partly that. Like, if I showed you a bunch of chairs and you're just like, yeah, all of those chairs are great, I'm like, well, I don't know if any of these chairs are great at this point.
Well, you'll just know that you have my approval and... my arm just popped really bad. My approval and blessing on whatever you choose, because I'm easygoing.
I think I'd rather you narrow it down to, like, 2 or 3, and then I could be like, yeah, out of these 3, this one is clearly the front runner.
The thing is, you would show me 3 at a time, and I would pick one, and I'm like, great, we're done. We get to have chairs. And then you'd be like, but what about these 30 chairs?
I wanted it to just be the right... I built the table. I wanted it to be the right aesthetic. It had to blend well.
And that's fine. And the aesthetic for 4 years were lawn chairs, and that's also okay. I'm just kidding.
We also didn't live in our house with lawn chairs.
No.
We bought our dining chairs when we moved into our house.
Before we moved in, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm just giving you a hard time. But you're particular, and that's okay. It's a good balance.
I think it's more of like, this might be something I'll have to unpack in therapy later, but
let's do it.
I really, really want quality because I want it to last as long as I'm willing to go with it. So if it's a jacket or these jeans that I'm literally wearing I bought my freshman year of college right this second, I would love for them to last so I don't have to buy them again. I want it to be built to last. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that's interesting, the juxtaposition, like how God brings those two people together. The person who's like okay with like 30 iterations of the same thing at $10 versus the other person at one iteration at $300.
Let me give you another perspective. I won't speak for all of women out there, but I will speak for myself. My body changes daily, so there are things that I would have bought a week ago that don't fit me the same that they fit me today. I can't fit in anything from 10 years ago. Like, kudos to you. So, like, for me, if
no one said they actually fit. I'm just still wearing.
There's a reason this isn't a video show. There's a reason this is audio.
No one wants to see that.
Audio only. But for me, it's like things change so fast. I think it's deeper. We're gonna really unpack this. This is therapy today. I moved so much growing up, which I did love, so I don't want my parents to feel guilty about. I loved moving a lot. It was so fun. But because of that, nothing felt like I needed to hold on to it for very long because it would change. Things were constantly changing. My scenery was changing. My body was changing. Okay. No, I just literally.
Well, let's just get off.
Everything's just constantly changing in my life. And so, like, to think of having an item for 10 years was very unrealistic from my perspective. Everything felt short term for the most part. So why wouldn't I get an item that would fit that pattern?
Sure.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, that feels like a kind of like nomadic lifestyle in a way. My parents still live in the house I grew up in.
Right, exactly.
And I remember thinking, like, my dad is building this house with his own 2 hands and it will stand forever.
It's very well built.
And that's the kind of thing I want. Like, I want my life to be that way. Like, I want everything to last forever.
Yeah, I think it's similar to how, like, I haven't had that experience. I just have had a different experience, and so I've had different tactics of going about life that worked for my lifestyle, where, like, your lifestyle is different and your tactics fit very well. But, like, now we're both bringing those tactics together, and they don't always make sense.
Well, yeah, admittedly, they don't mesh very well sometimes.
Right.
But I do think that is a blessing and a curse sometimes.
Well, I think it stretches both of us in good ways and challenges us, and yeah, I think it's a good balance.
Yeah, I think so. Deviate. Here we go.
Okay, get on this on-ramp.
You're going to listen to one artist the rest of your life. Who's he going to be?
Beyonce. Just kidding.
No, it's not.
To be fair,
we do not listen to Beyonce in our house at all.
No, but I do listen to some of her stuff. To be fair, if I were to pick her music catalog, there's a lot of music there.
Shout out Willie Nelson. I'll listen to that record all day.
Oh, and you do.
No, with Beyonce.
Oh, right. He's on one of her songs.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, true. Okay. If I had one artist, you know I can't even name the artists I listen to now.
That's a problem.
The thing is, I don't know if this is a me thing or just like the times. We can blame me, that's fine. But listening on Spotify, I'm not looking at the artist. I'm just like letting Spotify tell me what I want to hear. What about you? What would you
it's interesting. In a world of the Spotifys and the titles and things like that, it does make it more difficult to pin down like who you really love. You're not going and buying a full album every year from Relient K, from our childhood, Switchfoot.
So good.
You're not just buying a full album every year. You're getting a single every other day, and it's coming onto your Spotify, and you can stream it.
Endless music.
I think that's probably why I prefer to listen to vinyl music, because I know I'm going to go specifically buy that album. And if I'm not going to enjoy the whole thing, I'm not going to buy it. I know I'm going to sit down and enjoy that experience of just the putting it on and sitting down and listening to it.
Whenever you have anything you like to do, it's the entire process and experience.
100% of the way.
It's never like
start to finish.
run to get to the thing. It's like, no, the whole thing is the thing. Yeah.
And honestly, that's from the buying of the music to the sitting down to the putting it on, taking care of it, the whole thing. But if I had to pick one...
Can I guess? Oh, you don't know yet. You don't know the answer.
It'd be rough. You can guess.
I didn't have an answer yet. I was just like... because as soon as I thought it, I was like, I don't honestly know. I know a genre. Because my thing, it's so hard to narrow one artist because it's all about mood for me. It's like, what am I feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I do that sometimes. Like in the winter time, I tend to listen to more like slower... Spotify calls it acoustic... What do they call it? Acoustic winter something.
Depression?
It kind of... It was something along that lines of like moody winter or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think if I had to pick one forever and I couldn't pick another one, it would probably be Need to Breathe.
They were on my mind when you said that. I was thinking Need to Breathe. I was thinking bands like Camp. Just like chill, folky type music.
Well, and there is, if I'm picking a Spotify playlist just off the cuff, it's Chill as Folk. Is the name of the podcast. An explicit or the name of the playlist. Yeah, Chill as Folk.
FOLK.
For me, it's not just rainy day music or snowy day music, it's all the time.
No, I have no idea who I would pick because it's just all about, like, even if I'm in the mood to listen to like a podcast, I'm like, do I want to feel like I'm in someone's house and like having a conversation with interesting people, or do I want to like zone out and make up scenarios in my head, or do I want to
let's not do
pretend like I'm angsty and listen to some pop punk, or do I want to mostly, honestly, and this is gonna sound like holier than thou, but I enjoy like good worship music.
Yeah, we love Stephen Curtis Chapman and Amy Grant.
I'm diving in, I'm going in. I do appreciate that, but for a reason, like when I'm driving, I just get like weirdly spiritual. It's fine.
Well, you're probably like seeing everything around you going like, there's God in everything.
No. I mean, yes. But usually it's just like it helps me to process mentally. For instance, when I need to clean or get a task done, I put Friends on because I feel like I'm still being entertained. I feel like I'm still involved. Friends the TV show. I'm still involved. They're doing things, and so I feel like
you have friends in our house?
As sad as it sounds, yes. And so when I'm driving in a car, I feel like worship music, especially shout out to Bethel, their type of music, I can worship, but I can also like have something going on while still being able to process and not feel like I have to give my attention to one or the other more. Yeah. I think that's a very ADHD thing. They call it body doubling. If you have to get a task done, it's easy if someone else is doing work next to you for then you to do work, because maybe it's FOMO. Like I don't feel like I'm missing out on being entertained because something's going on, but then I can still put my attention somewhere else. I'm going to send this whole episode to my therapist. I think I need to.
So do you think that certain styles of music or genres of music prep you to do different tasks, or like?
Definitely. Similar to how like you enjoy the process of prepping to make your coffee, or like the process of putting a vinyl record on, the music enhances my whatever experience I'm having, and I feel like that's my purpose for music, is if I'm working out, the type of workout I have if I don't have energy, that music will feed me the energy. Or if I'm going for like a long run that's slow, I don't want anything too crazy that makes me run faster. Like I want something that'll help keep me on pace. I think music, not only with its rhythm, like gives me a rhythm that I'm after. Yes. I'm pretty much just really influenceable.
Yeah.
Influential?
Yeah,
No.
Get off TikTok, please.
What's the opposite of influential? Like I'm being influenced. I'm not an influencer. I'm influenced by music.
Sponge.
SpongeBob. Sponge.
Yeah, first of all, you're a sponge. You're soaking it in. But
Right.
that New Girl episode where it's like, say the first thing that comes to your head and don't say sponge.
Sponge.
Ah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get. That bit went on for so long.
Oh wait, give me again. Sponge.
Like they went back and forth about 20 times, but you know what? It was the right amount of times. It wasn't too many. It wasn't not enough. It was the right amount of times to reference Sponge.
Well, we're on the topic now. So TV shows. What are you into other than Friends? Because we know that you're into Friends.
I have a constant rotation because life is just in general crazy and stressful. I'm not trying to watch stressful shows right now, although I do enjoy those usually. But I do a lot of like feel-good shows. So on my current rotation and my past tenure, if I'm being honest, current rotation, Friends is that, like I already said, that one's like always on, especially when I'm working from home. It keeps me...
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why our electric bill is always so
We
high.
own it. It's not even like we don't have to stream it. We own
No,
all
electric
10 seasons.
bill. Like you're just running up your...
Yeah. Sometimes I do it on my
charging
computer.
Your computer all the time.
Yeah. That's a different story. That's not the question you addressed, okay? So Friends, definitely New Girl.
New Girl.
I think
yeah.
that one, I've watched it several times through. Every time I watch it, there's jokes that I don't remember hearing. One of my favorites. I love Parks and Rec. Love Parks and Rec. Shout out Chris Pratt. Andy Dwyer. I love...
She's saying that because they are the same person.
Andy Dwyer and Chris Pratt.
No, you.
Oh, me.
You and,
you think?
and Andy Dwyer.
You think? Oh, not Chris Pratt, but Andy Dwyer.
Andy Dwyer.
I'll still take that as a
Yeah.
compliment. I love AD.
5,000 candles in the wind.
Oh my gosh, he is really a poet. His lyrics are just next level.
The Office.
Yes, The Office. I do love The Office. I don't want to make any enemies. It's not my top one.
Can I be honest with you?
It's not yours either?
It was.
Okay.
But as the years go on, I get tired of it.
My-
Like I still love The Office. I can't sit down and watch it every night.
My thing is, like, I love The Office until the last couple seasons. Like, I'll still watch through it because I want those storylines to be, like, the bows to be tied. But then I get really anxious.
Yeah, no shade to the show, but when Steve Carell
Wow.
went off and
I think that's
they went on
pretty
that
well known.
carousel of
Yeah.
who's running The Office, it kind of ended for me. I've pretty much replaced that with Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I do like that show, too. That one's really good.
There's a symbiosis there for some reason where that show just works. Like every character is somehow complementary and also the antithesis of every other character.
Yeah.
It's great. That show, Parks and Rec, Friends for you, not for me.
Definitely not.
Cannot.
I think they're making enough money to where if you want to bash the show, go for it.
I am not a fan of those, like, that style show.
Where it's
Seinfeld, Friends. Like, it's hard for me to watch. And I know The Office is that one
So is New
set,
Girl.
basically.
And Brooklyn.
But for some reason, those moving parts to me are better than... It's more visually interesting. It's not just like a single cam, one set.
I have a theory.
Yeah, go for it.
I think Friends, it's only the 6 of their stories, where Brooklyn, there's outside storylines being brought in.
Yeah, maybe. And it could be just... I think it might just be Phoebe.
Oh, she's my favorite. One of my
I
faves.
can't.
Actually, I love all 6 of them. Yeah, I think it's the storylines add a little bit more dynamics for you that matter for you more than they matter for me.
So what's interesting for me when I watch you do, like, edit this podcast or edit a video for Adidas or something along those lines, you will have a show on
Yeah,
while you're doing it.
I need to.
I can't do that. I'm hyper focused on editing the photo I'm on, the video I'm on, writing, whatever I'm doing. I'm hyper focused on that, and I want no one else to bother me. That said, I could put on instrumental music
That would drive me nuts.
Vancouver Sleep Clinic is my like go-to for that. I can put that on, and I'm not invested in the lyrics as much, although they do have great lyrics in some of their songs. And I can go for hours editing photos or video or whatever, but you can have a show on where there's dialogue and stories, and how is that?
And I'll be like laughing half of it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I think it's FOMO, like fear of missing out on something.
On the same show that you've seen 100 times?
Yeah. No, I just like, I think silence, my brain tries to fill the emptiness. And it's not bad stuff in my brain. It's just like, it becomes really loud. So then if I have some background noise, something that like I can tune in and out of. So like if I get stuck on some edit, or if I'm like, I need a break from this edit, I can tune out of that and tune into the show. Sometimes I can hyper focus and I can just blaze through something and I can get stuff done like that should take me a week. I can get it done in like 2 hours. But for me, it's like I need to bounce back and forth a few things to keep, one, me interested, and two, it keeps it like not only just like novel, but sometimes like one thing will influence the other thing. One thing will let me have a thought that I wouldn't have considered had I just been focusing on the other thing. I'm okay with multiple distractions, I think. I thrive in chaos. If things are too peaceful, I do nothing.
So you're not good at camping?
I like camping. There's a lot of noise in camping. It's not all solace. There's a ton of noise. I actually enjoy camping. I like going out into nature too. I don't enjoy the bugs, but
yeah, which
that one time.
Admittedly, we went to Red River Gorge a couple years ago, and it must have been the season of the horsefly. They were everywhere.
And I was being attacked.
I attempted to take
I was being targeted.
My wonderful wife to one of my most favorite places on earth that I've been to.
She didn't like it either.
And
I'm just kidding.
Turns out it was 1,000 degrees and the plague of Exodus.
It was, yeah. We saw Moses. No, the temperature didn't bother me. The humidity didn't bother me. None of that bothered me because I was kind of expecting that. And I've been around camping when there's been bugs. This was just next. I was getting smacked constantly in the face to where I was like overstimulated by bugs.
But yeah, every single time we've tried to go, it's either poured down. Oh, we went to Zaleski one time and it was supposed to rain and then didn't rain.
Did we go to Zaleski?
Yep. And then thunderstorms were rolling in, so we decided to turn around and go back the way we came because we knew we could get out quick. So I don't know if it's me or if it's you, but we can't.
Not me. You camp more than I do, and you have these problems.
Every time. Something about nature, they don't want me in it, but I love it. So back to watching shows while you work on stuff, while you're doing busy work. What tools do you have, or do you have tools that can help you through that process of distraction? Like what do you utilize in your life that helps you stay on track?
Friends.
Other than the TV show.
That's a real good question. I would love to know.
Okay, so
I haven't mastered. I think having many outlets helps me, because if I only had one thing to do, I'm going to put that one thing off. But if I know I have multiple things to do, I have to make a move. And so it keeps me moving and it keeps me like fresh and bouncing back and forth.
So I've seen you work on a video edit and you've been like serious. You're in it.
It's fun.
You can't be distracted. No, there's nothing going on. You've got headphones on, you're working on the video, you're in it. But other times I've seen you work on probably a simpler like photo or something for Instagram, and you're just like, oh, what's that over there? Oh, what's that over there? What's that over there?
I think there's a level of urgency and a level of complexity. The higher the urgency and the higher the complexity.
Like the video is tenfold more difficult to edit than a single photo. Not necessarily
difficult, but more involved and more creatively involved, to where I'm like, it's a fun problem to solve. Where if it's like I have to write a paper for school, it's not the same case. But this is something where I get to like problem solve in a creative environment to make something that I'm picturing in my head happen. And then I have success in it and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? But if it's something like for just me and I'm the only one that's gonna benefit or lose out on something, and it's just like editing an Instagram photo or whatever, I'm just kind of like, whatever. Like, I don't need all my attention on that because I'm the only one who's gonna lose out if I don't follow through on that.
Well, and Instagram doesn't have to be as involved. I mean,
Depends
really,
on what you're trying for.
For the most part, you need somebody to look at it to get the metrics, right? Like, you just need someone to spend a second to look at it, as opposed to, like, let's say a YouTube video, for instance, you'd have to have someone watch it. And it has to be a unique view.
The only thing you're after for business accounts is attention, period. You just want eyes, because it doesn't matter if those eyes on the page like what they're seeing or not. It's going to rank that post
and
higher.
That promotes it, yeah.
And that promotes it higher and higher and higher. So who cares who looks at it, as long as eventually your target audience gets eyes on it. But for my personal Instagram, it's literally like, my kid did a funny thing, look at it. Or like, I saw this rock, do you want to see it too?
Well, let's be honest, there are things on, for some reason, the Instagram, Facebook, YouTube algorithms promote that I'm like, there's no way people are watching this.
Oh, it's nuts.
But there must be, because it's getting promoted. And I know that, like, I've worked on videos before that have taken me like months to finish. And you've got like the angles, the drone shots, the pull focus, like the whatever creative lingo you can put in there, you've put it in there, and like one person looks at it. But then you do like a 30-second like goofy, you blew a bubble with your nose through a straw, and tens of thousands of views like instantly.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, what do you think that? Do you think that's people having lack of focus sometimes? Like, they just want like that quick hit of, ooh, that's interesting. They don't want to sit and watch like a 10-minute video.
Someone who puts that much care into what they're doing is a very specialized project that they're getting a lot of fulfillment out, and I think it's a really good thing to put out there, because when it finds the right people, like, they're also going to appreciate it and have that deep connection with it, where the other videos that seem a little bit more tacky or whatever, unrefined, I think people aren't watching it because of the depth of creativity or the depth of process or appreciating it for the craft. I think it's purely entertainment, and either they're thinking it's stupid and that entertains them, or they're mad at it and it entertains them, or it has their attention. It's not even that they're entertained, it's an attention thing, an attention grabbing thing, and we're like moths. Like, if something is shiny and it catches our attention, we'll look at it. And I think the things, like, I think you're thinking of Peter McKinnon. He's commented on that before, where he'll, like, the stuff he gets way more fulfillment out of and way more satisfaction is the stuff he puts his heart into and really does his best
like
work.
The half-hour long YouTube films.
And it's beautiful, and it's well thought out, and it's, like, from start to finish, fantastic. What people are looking for on that platform specifically is probably more quick hits, like you're saying. Something that just keeps their attention. It's a different market. It's a different mood people have, and it's a different goal people have. Like, how many conversations do you have every day that are like, hey, how's it going? And it's very surfacey.
All of them.
Thousands.
Yeah.
But how many deep conversations do you have a day? Maybe one.
Well, I work in customer service,
right.
basically.
So
it's
millions.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with entertainment. You're going to have 1,000 surfacey things that'll entertain you, maybe one deep thing. And I think that's consistent with any form of anything that's trying to hold your attention.
Well, since you brought up Peter McKinnon, let's talk about that. So
he's a pirate, and we love him.
Pete's Pirate Life. In the world of YouTube, there are some greats, right? You got the Casey Neistat.
Love Casey
Dan
Neistat.
Mace.
Love him.
Peter McKinnon, Jesse Driftwood, like all these people who got really big on YouTube, and they've had to shift focus, and a lot of their stuff has gone to Instagram Reels or TikTok or whatever. And they're still putting out some long form content in terms of feature-length films for Dan, or 30-minute long YouTube videos for Peter. Admittedly, we don't get as much from Casey as we would love to see. Come on, Casey, bring him back the daily vlog, please.
Please.
Do you think there's still a place in the entertainment sector for those long-form content things? I eat that stuff up. I feel in this day and age, I'm 1 in 1,000. Do you think that there's still space in the creative world for that?
You might be 1 of 1,000, but you're 1,000 out of 100,000. You know what I mean? Like, yes. How I would approach different musics or different different music or videos that I am in the mood to watch, it changes constantly. Sometimes I want to watch something that's not going to make me feel things, or sometimes I want to watch something that's going to help me process emotion. I think people even as simple as we are, we're still really complicated in that we crave different things in different moments. So some people might never watch that stuff, but I believe with 8 billion people in the world, there's going to be a market for literally anything you can put your hand to.
So what we're getting at is you want to create something, go create it.
Yeah.
And even if it's just 10 people looking at it, it's worth it. Even if it's just you, it's worth it to do that creative thing. It doesn't have to be feature-length film that grosses 10 billion in the box office.
If it is though,
And you know, that's how a lot of those guys started. You know, Casey would be the first to tell you he just started with a teeny tiny camera that was all of his life savings, and he would just start shooting random video with his brother Van, and then next thing you know, they're getting picked up on HBO, and then continuing that daily vlog on YouTube and making tons of money.
They're doing all right, for sure.
And fulfilling that creative void that's in their life at the same time. Do you think it's easy to placate both those worlds, the small format and the large format creativity?
And be successful. Like one person doing both?
Sure.
Yeah, of course. Some people do work, any creative you talk to. Peter, we'll talk about Peter McKinnon again, or even Casey. They'll do 10 jobs so they can do the one job they care about.
Yeah.
One job will fund something they would probably do for free.
Yeah.
I think it's every single person has major capacity to create, and that's not ever going to go away. And whatever we are most passionate about, we will freely, like there's things I will never get paid for, but I just enjoy so much that I'll just do it for free, even if no one ever sees it. Like everyone has that. If someone wants to pay for it, hallelujah, we've got a sponsor tag if y'all want to throw something on there. But I think that everyone's got the capacity to do both. I think we have to do both because that's how the world currently is. Like we have to produce or perform to then do the things we actually really want to do. And the thing is, people will benefit from both, but it's where do you put yourself as far as like what you identify within that? Like, do you identify yourself as someone who is out to make money? And if that's your goal, fine. Like, that's okay. And just work on stuff that'll give you money. Or if you'd rather like be a broke artist and only do things you're passionate about, that's also okay. It's everyone's individual, like what is my end game? What is my goal? But I think most people will have capacity and do both and get benefits from both.
I think that's good. I think that there is space for that. I almost never create for money anymore. I used to try to shoot weddings and stuff for photography and really wanted to get into video. I find that I don't enjoy that as much. The process of lugging my equipment around or going and working for someone else versus making a 30-second video of me making coffee in the morning. I would prefer that. Making it basically just for me, and then I'm putting it on the internet and like no one really cares. And I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I would rather just say like, hey, I made this. I really enjoy it. Most of the time it's just got fun little music behind it, and you can sit back and enjoy that. And I think for me, I don't do it as much as I would like to, but I think that's where I find enjoyment now. Yeah. Whereas I thought that I really wanted to be big time wedding photographer or senior portraits or engagement photos or whatever. I find that doesn't engage my creativity enough for me to want to continue to do it. It's too much stress of like, what if they don't like it? Or what if I didn't do it right? Or what if I accidentally lose the footage? You know, like that to me, I'd rather just make for myself, create for myself, and then put it out there, and I don't care if anybody likes it.
I think it's like, what's your currency? Like, what's your preferred currency? Like, is your preferred currency the dollar? Cool, go after that. If your preferred currency is feeling connected to people through being vulnerable and sharing something you've created and finding like more people than you realize connect with it and relate to it, and then creating this like weird community together, if that's your currency, I think that's really beautiful. Currency and goal for me is like interchangeable. My currency that I'm after, do I like money? Of course, but I'm not ever money motivated. Like I don't even think about, no matter what's in front of me, if I'm making $5 for it or $500 for it, I'm gonna do the same work effort, because I guess this might make me sound like, oh yeah, look at me. But like my currency isn't the money itself, although like I'll take it, give it to me. But like my currency is more, am I doing quality work that makes me proud? Me proud part could be, I could be proud of the fact that I met an expectation, or I can be proud of the fact that I delivered a really good product for somebody and enhanced someone else's life, or am I proud of the fact that I made this really cool connection and helped someone else feel seen and understood. My currency and what brings me life is more felt than a paycheck.
Yeah.
So experience and pizza.
And there you have it. That's life lessons with Flo.
This episode was sponsored by Papa John's. I wish.
Honestly, I think Papa John get a bad rap.
Why?
I don't know, I feel like,
I feel like nobody says anything bad about Papa John's.
We don't have one here, so nobody's gonna say anything about Papa John's.
We have it where we used to live.
Yeah, and I think that people kind of feel like it's free pizza when the Blue Jackets score.
I'm like, hey, free pizza. Thanks, Blue Jackets.
I like Papa John's. Shaq likes Papa John's, and who am I to argue with Diesel?
Oh my gosh. Shaq. Yeah, of course. Hey, Shaq. I know you're listening, so free Papa John's whenever. But to be honest...
Hashtag not sponsored.
I'm not sponsored at all. We are the type of people that will also throw down in some Little Caesars, so I'm not super particular.
I'm not above that. Okay, well, tune in next time for Couples Therapy.
Thanks for being on. I love you. I like your butt.
Love you too.
Okay, you don't want to say anything about my butt? You can... Yeah, alright, that's fine.